Yeah, that is some sights of beautiful outing at the 7th edition of the National Youth Games in Delta State, Asaba, where Delta State actually won the 7th edition for a record 7 times. That is a perfect number for Delta State. They actually understands what sports is all about. On that note, I'll welcome you to Weekend Sports. I am Emmanuel Fashimi, and we've had a very good topic on the show today. First of all, we'll have a focus where we'll be looking at the events, the happening at the 7th edition of the National Youth Games. It has come and gone. By last weekend, it was concluded at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Delta State, and now athletes have been discovered. What is next? What is on ground for these athletes have been discovered? We've seen 5-year-old, we've seen 12-year-old, 10-year-old, 14, 13, 8, 7 years old participating at the just concluded National Youth Games. Now, we've seen talents, raw ones for that matter. They've been discovered. What are we going to do next with these talents? What is the follow-up programs that has been outlined on the screen? You can see a 5-year-old golfer from Eneba, named from Benue State, and we had another 5-year-old participating in that event. So a lot of young talents coming to the 7th edition of the National Youth Games and making their state proud. Okay. On that note, we have Friday Joshua joining us via Zoom on the program Weekend Sports, who was right there at the 7th edition of the National Youth Games. Friday Joshua, welcome to the show Weekend Sports.
Yes, good morning, Emmanuel Fashimi. It's good to be here this morning.
Okay, quickly. The 7th edition of the National Youth Games has come and gone. It was concluded by this time at the Stephen Keshi Stadium last weekend, and now talents have been discovered. Before we came into the studio before the show, we saw the video clips of that karate sport. 2 young ones slugging it out there. We've seen the picture of a 5-year-old golfer, another picture of a 5-year-old athlete, and not just them alone. We have a couple of other young ones that participated at the just concluded 7th edition of the National Youth Games. Now, these talents that have been discovered, you were there, and I believe Federation presidents, secretaries were also there. Now, what's your general assessment of the games? And now that, okay, first, let's have your general assessment of the games.
Well, for the 7th National Youth Games, I would actually say it's a success. Of course, there is no program that is 100% perfect. There is no perfection anywhere. We have issues, some accommodation issues. Some people complained about age cheat and all of that, But, incidents like this cannot be seen elsewhere except where you have games like this. So it cannot be 100% perfect. But I must give Delta State kudos for hosting the 7th National Youth Games despite the postponement.
Okay, for hosting the 7th National Youth Game despite the postponement. That aside, now the question we're asking on the program Weekend Sports on Trust TV is that now that these talents have been discovered, what is next for them? You were there, you saw raw talent with your own eyes. So what is next for this talent?
Of course, the only thing that is next is how to develop this talent, because as it is mentioned, it is a youth games, and of course it is meant to discover and develop talent. I think the primary aim for these youth games is not to rake medals, but to discover 1 or 2 talents that can actually represent the country on the bigger scene and at the international level. Excuse me. And what next is to put up developmental programs for these young lads that have been discovered to actually develop into becoming superstars. Now, it's a major challenge for us in Nigeria and some parts of Africa where you discover talent at a very young age, and when their counterparts who they were discovered almost at the same time in the same competition, you see them plying their trade in the future as superstars, then you begin to look for our own athletes or players. I think developmental programs should be put in place, and that should go down. Even talking about facilities. Now, most of these athletes that came to Asaba Delta State after the National Youth Games, will they find such facilities and environment to harness their talent back in their state? Now, this boils down to all the state sports commission. You know, some of them came to Asaba saying winning of medals is not their ultimate goal. Their ultimate goal is to come and discover and develop talent. It's not just by saying it. Now that the games are over, going back to their state, what programs are they putting in place for these young athletes to train themselves, to keep them in shape ahead of the next National Youth Games? You know, like you rightly mentioned, we've seen 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds that in the next 2 years, they will still be part of the National Youth Games. Now, for these younger ones, are they just going to leave them to be hanging or train on their own? Or the state government, the State Sports Commission will take it as a responsibility upon themselves to ensure that these talents that are very, very young, that can still feature in the next youth games, will be able to feature again, and we won't get stories that touch. You know, when these kids don't train, of course, when you stop practicing, of course, no matter how talented you are, that prowess gives you. So it boils down to the State Sports Commission to be able to put some of these programs. It could be on a quarterly basis to actually bring these kids together in a particular state. Let's take FCT for instance. Now we finished 7th on the medal standing, and that was our position in the previous National Sports Festival and Youth Games before now. And of course, Dr. Stephanus Lucas, the FCT Director of Sport, actually described that medal standing as satisfactory. We've seen states who are going further and further. Delta State, since the inception of the National Youth Games, has always been winning this tournament, and this is the record 7th time. And that is why I laugh when people say Delta State are using age cheat, accommodation issue to actually dislodge other states, to demoralize other states from winning medals. That is not the situation. When it was in Ilorin for a couple of years, Delta State was winning it away from home. Yes. So there must be something Delta State is actually doing right to ensure that their athletes are always top-notch and always prepared for these games. Yes, some will even complain of poaching of athletes. Believe me, if all states treat their athletes right, nobody will leave his or her state and go and represent another state. Now, there's a reward system in Delta State. Also, there's a reward system in Bayelsa State. For Bayelsa State, of which I spoke to the Director of Sports for Bayelsa State, Sir Wodi Braveman, he said, for the National Sports Festival, for every gold medal you win, you get your 1 million naira. Tell me which athlete who is a teenager or a youth would not want to have 1 million naira for winning a gold medal here in Nigeria. Motivation like that spur athletes to go the extra mile to actually rake medals for their state, not just for their state, because in exchange, they get a cash reward. And even if it's not going to be a cash reward, it's going to be in scholarship. For a child who is going to school in Nigeria, if you have a 1 million naira scholarship, it goes a long way for you. It may even cater for the whole of your secondary school education if that child is just getting into secondary school. Okay. And if you're halfway through secondary school, a 1 million naira can cater for the remaining half of your secondary school and some part of your university level. So motivations like this, even parents will even encourage their students to even develop their talent because they know what they can get from it. No wonder Stephanie Onwuzurika, your friend, used to represent FCT in gymnastics. And you know the exploits Stephanie has when it comes to gymnastics. In this National Sports Festival, she represented Delta State and she won 4 gold medals. If FCT were doing a kind of reward system that was favorable, that was a win-win situation for the athletes and the state, Stephanie Onwuzurika will not leave FCT to represent Delta State. So these are some of the things you have to put in place and see how it is not just the competition. After the competition, what is left for these children, these young athletes to bank on while they are preparing for the next one? Now, in the situation whereby I go to a competition, I win a laurels, I win laurels for the state, and when I return to the state, nothing is happening. I go back to my usual state. I hustle to train, I hustle to feed, I hustle to cater for my needs. And you expect when a state is coming to say, okay, come and represent us for each feat you are able to achieve, this is what we are giving you. Now, let me go back to Bayelsa State again. For the National Youth Games, Sir Wodi Braveman mentioned that for every gold medal, you get a scholarship reward of 200,000 naira. For silver, you get a scholarship reward because they are youth, because they are from 15 below. Of course, giving them cash prize is not the best for young children like that. So for silver medal, it is 200,000 naira scholarship reward. While for bronze medal, 100,000 naira scholarship reward. And I know it is more than that. We are just talking about the cash reward attached to the scholarship. So, and if you look at Delta State, look at Bayelsa State and Lagos, these states have the facility for children to go in and train free of charge. It's always open. There are no restrictions. So no wonder you see these states year in, year out, both at the National Sports Festival and the National Youth Games, always coming back to run riot against the others. And because they are always in the forefront, definitely certain states will come up with excuses that, okay, there is age teeth, this athlete is not eligible to fit in this event. But at the end of the day, after all argument is being placed, I could remember one, was it Chinyere, or I've forgotten her name, excuse me, who was representing Imo State in athletics. Of course, her physique looked more than 15 years old. And other athletes was like, no, this girl cannot be 15 years old. This girl is way more than 15 years old. But at the end of the day, she submitted her international passport that confirmed that she's 15 and below, which means she's qualified by age to run in that competition. They had to scrutinize her more that, okay, we need your birth certificate. They need somebody to snap her birth certificate from all the way from Imo State and send through WhatsApp to get the confirmation that she's actually 15 years old. So the issue of age teeth, of course, it cannot be overemphasized, but you know, when some of these things are actually scrutinized, when the issue is being raised, of course, they will look into it. And at the end of the day, most of these athletes that they claim to be above 15 are actually way in that age category.
Okay.
So plus or minus, we just need to create the enabling environment for these young athletes. If an athlete is a gymnast in your state, you should make provision for that athlete to train right in your state, in the comfort of their state. This is the only way. And possibly a perfect reward system that suits their age grade to spur these athletes into doing more. And we hope that in the near future, we get to see some of these athletes represent the country in the international scene.
Yes, represent the country in the international scene. That's a good one from you, Friday Joshua. Welfare is the key. Motivation is the key. When you take care of your athletes as young as they are, the 7 National Youth Games, I believe the Ministry of Sports Development right now should do more. Now that these talents have been discovered, the 7th edition of the National Youth Games, I think the ministry should set up programs to see how they can do a follow-up with these athletes. Like you mentioned, Unsirika in gymnastics, we also have Obiefuna in the FCT Gymnastics Association, a girl that has won so many medals at the National Youth Games. So it's looking good. Well, the ministry now is in charge. He should put up developmental programs, a follow-up programs for all of the federations to see how these talents can at least do better when they go out for events. Delta State has shown the way. Bayelsa State, Edo State, Lagos State has shown all other states how to do it. I think they should also learn from them, and they will do just better than them, or do at least what they are doing. Okay, let's move away from that story And straight to the NWFL, where we now have 16 teams that will be participating in the 2023-2024 league season. We have 16 teams splitted into two groups, Group A and Group A. Okay, quickly let's have the two groups that the MPFL teams has been housed into. We have in Group A, Conference Queens of Kogi, we have Nasarawa Amazons, we have Niger Raiders, we have Abia Angels, and we have Danas Ladies, we have Royal Queens, we have Adamawa Queens, and we have Heartland Queens of Owerri. In Group B, we have Bayelsa Queens of Bayelsa State, Delta Queens of Delta State, who are the defending champions of the league. We have FC Robo Queens of Lagos, Edo Queens of Edo State, Rivers Angels of Rivers State, Port Harcourt precisely. We have Sunshine Queens of Akure, we have Lakeside Remo Queens of Ikene, that is in Ogun State, and we have Ekiti Queens, a newly promoted team. The two teams that are just newly promoted are housed in Group B. Now, Friday Joshua, looking at these two groups, we have 16 teams will participate in the 2024-2023 league season. What's your take on the NWFL?
Actually, a good one that the competition is getting stiffer. We used to have 14 teams in the have 16 with the addition of 2, and good enough. We still maintain the Group A and B, because if you ask for me that which is better, I think this groupings is actually good for the NWFL, the abridged version, because with this we don't get to hear of going through midway through this league season and you discover that the league is postponed by 2 weeks or 3 weeks because of reasons. With this, it's able to cover the expenses spent on honoring away matches and all of that. So talking about the competition, is going to be stiffer this time around with the addition of 2. Sunshine Queens are back to the NWFL. That is my state. It's been a long while. And also, we are seeing Ekiti Queens coming back. And particularly, I must say that for Danas Ladies to make it to the NWFL is actually a good one. We've seen new boys in the MPFL, and now we are seeing new ladies in the NWFL. So for Danas Ladies of Lagos, I want to see what they will bring to the table. They've never been here before, and this is their first time. This is going to be their debut. We hope that they are able to do what Remo Stars, the likes of Remo Stars and Remo Stars in the MPFL did. Excuse me. So now, looking at Group B, where we have defending champions, talking about Delta Queens, it's actually a tough group if you ask me, because they have Bayelsa Queens to also contend with. They have FC Robo Queens to contend with. They have Edo Queens. They have Rivers Angels, all in one group. So for me, that is the group of death, where you have the cream de la creme of the NWFL housed in one group. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the day, this cream de la creme of the NWFL in Group B will be the ones to make it to the final stage of the NWFL. We're coming back to Group A. Confluence Queens of Lokoja want to see how they are able to do better. Over the years, they've been performing very well, but in recent years, Confluence Queens of Lokoja, they are nowhere to be found. Now look at Nasarawa Amazons, of course, in Group A, and don't forget Niger Raiders of Abuja. You know, they made their debut about 2 seasons ago, and against all odds, they qualified for the Super Six. Of course, the Super Six for them at the end of the day was not a bed of roses, as it was a lackluster of performance for Niger Raiders. But last season, they actually gave a good fight, and they missed out on the Super Six again, just by whisker. On the last day of the abridged version of the season, Niger Raiders missed out of the Super Six, and now this is another season for them to actually show the stuff they are made of. So it's actually going to be a good one. Kudos to the management of the NWFL. They have a new chairperson, and she's actually putting things in the right direction. Of course, the former woman, Aisha Falode, has actually done her best. Kudos must be given to her. It is not an easy task. Women football across the world is way, way difficult to handle than the men's football. So whatever ups and downs that she had in her own dispensation, kudos needs to be given to Aisha Falode. So let's see what the new chairperson is going to bring to the table. But with this kind of arrangement, making it increasing from 14 to 16 is actually a good step in the right direction. It will make the league more solidified, more competitive, as you now have more foes to contend with. That means if you are winning the title, that means you are winning it in style. Among 16 teams, if you come out champion, that means you have gone through 16 hurdles, home and away, to be able to win the title. So it's actually a good one for the NWFL. We hope to see good image from that section of Nigerian football.
Yes, a good one coming in from the NWFL. Now we have a new chairperson that is in Kechi in place who will follow the laid down foundation of Aisha Falode. And as it stands, the NWFL need more media attention, and you are sure that you get it on Trust TV. We'll bring you all of the updates in our leagues, MPFL and NWFL. But we need to do more. The NFF need to at least shift attention to women's football. That league needs attention. I believe Alhaji Ibrahim Goso, the NFF president, is watching, and he will do better to pay attention to the women's league. We need to make our league viable. It's a painful one that will not be in the continent. That is the CAF Women's Champions League, after Delta Queens crashed out in the last day of that qualifying series that was played at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. Okay, let's leave that story quickly. Now let's talk about, just have a glimpse of this. We'll talk about CAF. Now, Rivers United has been grouped in Group C of the CAF Champions League, where we have African team, as in from Club Africain of Tunisia. We have a team from Ghana. We have Lobuto, a team in that group. And as it stands for Rivers United, they are the only Nigerian team still left in the continent. Friday Joshua, in 2 sentences, how do you see Rivers United coming out of that group, barring that this club from Tunisia defeated them in 2017?
Yes, for Rivers United, making it to the money spinning stage of CAF Confederation Cup, kudos must be given to them. They fought hard to be there. But are they going to make it out of that group? For me, it is a 50-50 chance, because it is actually a tricky one for Rivers United. The group looks easy, but it is not all that easy. We know our performance when it comes to continental engagement in recent times. It has not been very, very good. So for Rivers United, who have been there in recent years, I think they should know what to do. Now, they don't have the support of Yesom Wike, the former state. Let's see what Asim Fubara will be able to do to Rivers United to spur them into doing well. Because at the end of the day, motivation is the key. Apart from the personal desire to be successful, you must have a backing. Who is backing Rivers United? What motivation are they getting from outside the pitch? That will go a long way to tell us how Rivers United are going to perform this season. Eyimba FC of Aba, 2-time champion of the CAF Champions League, back to back, didn't just happen on the field of play. There was somebody, there was a management that was motivating the players with everything they need. When I say everything, I mean everything. Rivers United, a couple of years, was able to win the MPFL because they had the backing of the governor of Rivers State, Asaden. He gave them all they needed to be able to become champions. And when I mean all they needed, not playing the politics in football, motivating the players, taking care of their welfare, making sure that logistics is seamless, not the issue where you have to travel. Then when you travel, you get 2,000
naira, 1,000 naira.
How do I put it? You get the word is actually skipping my mind now. You get abandoned somewhere half your way to honor matches and all of that. You know, you get to travel under very inconvenient circumstances to get to your match venues. That way you cannot get good results. Now for Rivers United, of course, they qualified for the Super 6 last season in the MPFL. Now they are the only team representing Nigeria. So the burden is even more heavier than before. So what it means is, for the all 20 clubs in the MPFL, they are their representative. So now, apart from the government of Rivers State, who are the owners of the club, motivating Rivers United, what is the MPFL doing to ensure that everything Rivers United needs to honor these continental games are put in place? It is not just Rivers United fight alone. It is a fight for Nigeria. It's a fight for the NPFL because the performance of Rivers United at the CAF Confederations Cup will determine the number of slots to be given to us next time. Okay. And that is how the continental competitions are being run. If you are coming from a particular country and year in, year out, you are not performing well, as time goes on, you reduce your number of slots. So let's actually give Rivers United a chance. I'm being optimistic, but they need to be supported and plug round pegs in round holes. That's where we're able to get the job done because they are shouldering responsibility of the whole 20 clubs in the NPFL this season.
Yes, the NPFL organizer, Davis Inowumi and Elegbeleye, should know how to do rally around Rivers United, give them this maximum support to do well in the continent because the other 19 clubs in the NPFL host rest on the shoulders of Rivers United in the continent. Okay, let's leave Africa and go straight to Europe. Now we have our own man, our brother, our friend, our son doing well. Victor Osimhen made the final list of the FIFA World Best Player of the Year. The final list where you have Lionel Messi, you have Kevin De Bruyne, you have Mbappe, you have Haaland, and these guys with Victor Osimhen will be slugging it out for who will be named the FIFA best player. Now, Friday Joshua, on this quickly for Victor Osimhen making the final list of those that were nominated for the FIFA Player of the Year. Do you see our own Victor Osimhen standing this chance of winning this accolade?
Victor Osimhen winning that accolade is actually a tall order. But for him and for Nigerians, he has done well in the last season, becoming Serie A highest goal scorer, taking Napoli to the Serie A title for the first time in 30 years since Diego Maradona. So I think that alone has actually earned him a space in the last 12 of the nominees for the FIFA Best Player. Winning the FIFA Best Player is achievable. It is not insurmountable for Victor Osimhen. If those in FIFA and those who will be voting will actually vote with a clear conscience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could see what he's facing this season already in his base in Napoli. Racism. And over the years, we've seen certain dark-skinned players that have come close to becoming either Ballon d'Or winners or FIFA best players, but because of they are in a dark skin, there are some kind of sentiment. So for anybody who is on that list, among the 12-man nominees, Victor Osimhen stands equal chance if there's going to be fair play in everything they do. So it is not insurmountable. We just need to hope and pray that Victor Osimhen, from now till when that award is being given, he continues to find the back of the net. Because at the moment, he's not finding his footing in Napoli like he was last season. Of course, no thanks to all of the controversy surrounding him outside the pitch of play. And that is actually translating into the pitch of play. If you watch their recent games, it's as if they're almost trying to play without Victor Osimhen. Forget all this image rebranding that Napoli are doing at the moment on the internet space, trying to give Victor Osimhen some kind of backing. We know how these things work. We know how these things work when it comes to for time immemorial. They've been talking about say no to racism in football, bringing out banners, launching out campaign, but yet this menace is still in football. They are just, I think for me, it's just hypocrisy on the part of these Europeans. When you come out to say something and you go to the back and do the other. Since this issue of racism, how many fans caught in the act or players caught in the act have been punished severely for the world to see? We have Vinicius Jr. of Real Madrid, who went to court a few days ago to testify. Now, at the end of the day, we discovered that no strict punishment is being meted on those involved in such acts. But let's come back to the award for Victor Osimhen. For me, he stands equal chance as the remaining of the 11 nominees in that category to actually win that title. But unfortunately for Azizat Oshuala, she didn't make the final list, and that is understandable. You check her performance at the World Cup. Of course, Nigeria had a good performance, but her contribution to those performances, I think she had just 2 goals. One goal, I beg your pardon. That is the game against Australia, and that was actually a superb one. But for Victor Osimhen, let's keep our fingers crossed and see how it pans out. Because for me personally, he stands equal chance to actually win that FIFA Best Player award.
Okay, he's standing equal chance to actually win that FIFA Best Player Award. We'll still come back on that topic where our viewers at home, we have the chance to call into the program and give us their own view and perspective about Victor Osimhen making the final list of the FIFA Best Player Award, and then probably if he has the chance of winning it. Okay, let's quickly go straight to the NPFL. We have fixtures that has been lined up in the NPFL, and then we'll be starting with the NPFL. We also have fixtures in Europe. We have in the top 5 leagues in Europe, but we will start with the NPFL. We'll start with our own, and we'll have some of the biggest fixture over the weekend in the NPFL. We have this one between Remo Stars and Enugu Rangers International that will be going on over this weekend, and that is one of the biggest game of the NPFL for the weekend for Remo Stars and Enugu Rangers. These are 2 fantastic teams that have at least they know each other very well. And Fidelis Ilechukwu now with Rangers International started the season with a 2-1 win over Gombe United. Goes from Kalu Wenke and Austin Onyemechi. And for the for Remo Stars game is going to be a very tough one. That game will be coming on this weekend. And if you look at the head-to-head stats of Remo Stars and Enugu Rangers, it has ended in a goalless affair. Their first time meeting in the 2021-2022 league season. And in the previous meeting, at least Remo Stars secured a 1-0 victory in the second leg over Rangers International during that 2021-2022 NPFL season. So 2 meetings, 1 win for Remo Stars and 1 draw. That is how it is now. And for Fidelis Ilechukwu and Rangers International, they will be hoping to end their woeful record in Ikene, because for Fidelis Ilechukwu, it's always difficult to have a win at Ikene, that is in Ogun State. And that is one of the biggest fixtures of the weekend for the NPFL. Let's have the complete fixtures, how the teams will be playing this weekend. Let's have the complete fixtures of matches. We have Bendel Insurance against Shooting Stars. We have Doma United against Bayelsa United. We have Kano Pillars taking on Katsina United as a Northern Derby. We have Niger Tornadoes against Rivers United. We have Aqua playing Sporting of Lagos, their second game, their first time in the NPFL. We have Lobby Stars against Sunshine Stars. We have Kwara United to battle Abia Warriors of Abia State. We have Gombe United and Enyiba. And for the game between Enyiba and Gombe United, these 2 teams, well, they know each other very well. The first time they met was in 2014, and Gombe United defeated Enyiba 2-1. And then the next time it was a draw, 1-1 in that same season. The next meeting was a draw. It was a goalless draw. And then the last time they met, Enyiba beat Gombe United 2-1 at home. That is at the Pantami Stadium. So it's a good one, a good record for Gombe and Enyiba. And then we'll have Plateau United against Heartland of Owerri, and Remo Stars versus Enugu Rangers, the biggest match of the weekend. Friday, Joshua, quickly, what's your take just in 1 second? Enugu Rangers, Remo Stars, your prediction, straight up.
For me, the prediction is going to be Remo Stars that they are going to carry the day. For me, Enugu Rangers might be a big club, but that is on paper because you are as good as your current form. And coming into this game, the Enugu Rangers for me will be fully motivated because of their 2-1 win in the opening day against Gombe United, while Remo Stars didn't get their maximum result. But it's a way for them to bounce back. And if you check their head-to-head, Remo Stars stands a higher chance. So for me, Remo Stars is going to carry the day in that fixture between them and Enugu Rangers.
Okay, let's go straight to Europe. Let's start with the EPL. Let's go straight to Europe, and we have fixtures for this weekend in the EPL, and we have the biggest one. That is the game of Arsenal against Manchester City, the defending champions of the EPL. It's going to be a super weekend in the EPL there. We have the fixtures, the full fixtures for the weekend. We have Luton Town against Tottenham Hotspur, high-flying Tottenham Hotspur. We have Burnley, Chelsea. We have Everton against AFC Bournemouth. We have Fulham against Sheffield United. Manchester United, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Liverpool, West Ham United, Newcastle United, and then Wolves will take on Aston Villa, and then Arsenal against Manchester City. Okay, at this point in time, we'll be throwing the phone lines open. You have the opportunity to call into the program for your contributions. We talked about Victor Osimhen making the final list of the FIFA award, Best Player Award for FIFA. And then now we have the biggest match in the EPL, Arsenal Man City. The numbers will be displayed on your screen. You will have the opportunity to call in and let us hear your contribution about Osimhen, at least being among the finalists for FIFA Best Player Award, and then Arsenal against Man City. So you have the opportunity to share your own contributions. Okay, Friday, Joshua, Man City, Arsenal, quickly.
Yes, for Man City, Arsenal, facing Man City at this juncture, where Bukayo Saka is in doubt for that fixture, is going to be a difficult one for Arsenal. But there are rumors that he is in contention to be fit for Manchester City game, and if they're able to get Bukayo Saka in that game, good for Arsenal.
You have because to hold your thought there. We have a caller. We have a caller. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Good morning. Your name and where you are calling from?
Good morning. I'm calling from Bauchi.
Okay, from Bauchi. Welcome on the show, Weekend Sports.
Wow.
Okay, let's hear your contribution. Victor Osimhen making the final list for the FIFA Best Player Award, and then Arsenal Man City game. Okay, we lost that call there from Bauchi. If you can call in again, let's make a try. Okay, Joshua, continue.
Yeah, so if they're able to get Bukayo Saka back into the squad for that clash against City, it's going to be good for Arsenal. But that is not an assurance that Arsenal is going to beat Manchester City. Of course, Manchester City, on the other hand, they have their long list of injuries that is actually rocking that team. And as it stands at the moment, for me, the only deadly person in Manchester City team at the moment is Erling Haaland.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
Okay, your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Mohammed, calling from Bombay.
Mohammed, where are you calling from again?
Bombay.
Okay, let's hear your contribution.
Thank you very much for the issue of Osimhen making the final list of the best players.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed development in the players at home and abroad. Absolutely, Osimhen deserves to be. But my take on Osimhen takes in Napoli is that Osimhen should have lead Napoli, because Napoli did not give him all what it takes to respect his performance toward the achievement of winning Serie A after 3 years. If I was Osimhen, I would leave Serie A league. Just like how Diego Armando Maradona, each of them won a league. But unfortunately, Osimhen was, politically deceived. That after the other court that took them to that level left, and the next court that came doesn't seem to, go down with Osimhen policies. So if I was Osimhen, I will leave Napoli so that I will find my career somewhere. That's my take on the Napoli.
Okay, but he has he made the final list. Do you think he can win the FIFA Best Player Award?
Why not? He set a record in Serie A. Nobody said what he has said in Serie A. So he deserves to be. Why not?
Okay, thank you for your contribution on the show. Victor Osimhen deserved to win the FIFA Best Player award. Okay, we still have other fixtures. Let's go straight to La Liga while you keep your calls coming in. Let's have the fixtures in La Liga. We have fixtures over the weekend for La Liga games, and on the screen we have Cadiz against Girona. We have Real Madrid against Osasuna. We have Mallorca taking on Valencia. We have Sevilla against Rayo Vallecano. We have Villarreal against Las Palmas, Atletico Madrid against Real Sociedad, Alaves against Real Betis, Celta Vigo against Getafe, and Granada against Barcelona. Hello, welcome to Weekend Sports.
Good morning.
Okay, good morning. Your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Folokong from Maiduguri.
From Maiduguri. How is Maiduguri this morning?
Maiduguri is well fine.
Okay, straight up, Victor Osimhen made the final list for the FIFA Best Player Award, and then Arsenal against Man City. Let's hear your contribution.
My own contribution?
Yes.
I wish Victor Osimhen good luck to get that best player in the world.
Okay.
I wish him good luck. I wish him good luck.
Okay, you wish Victor Osimhen to win the award?
Yeah, I wish him good luck.
Okay, what of the game Arsenal against Man City in the EPL?
Man City will win Arsenal 3-1.
3-1. Okay, thank you, Mohammed, from Maiduguri. Arsenal.
Yeah, follow come from Maiduguri. Follow come from Maiduguri.
Follow come from Maiduguri. Okay, thanks for calling in on Weekend Sports. Okay, he said Man City will beat Arsenal 3-1 well at the Emirates Stadium. Let's not forget that at the beginning of the season, Arsenal defeated Man City via penalties in the Community Shield Cup. Okay, let's go straight to Bundesliga. Let's have fixtures in Bundesliga. We'll have some games that will be coming up in Bundesliga. Quickly, let's see those fixtures on the screen. Okay, Borussia Dortmund will take on FC Union Berlin. Augsburg against Darmstadt 98, Leipzig against VfL Bochum 1848, VfB Stuttgart we welcome VfL Wolfsburg, both of them having VV at the beginning of their names. We have Werder Bremen against Hoffenheim. We have Bayer Leverkusen we take on FC Cologne. Bayern Munich will be at home against SC Freiburg, and Eintracht Frankfurt against FC Heidenheim. Okay, let's have the Serie A fixtures quickly. Well, we have Victor Osimhen will be coming back to action this weekend. Serie A fixtures. Let's have Serie A's fixture as we still have the German Bundesliga on the screen. Okay, this is the Serie A fixtures. Inter Milan will welcome Bologna, and then we have Juventus against Torino, Genoa against AC Milan, Monza will play Salernitana, Frosinone. We take on Hellas Verona, Lazio, Atlanta, Cagliari, Roma, Napoli, Fiorentina. Let's have League One fixtures. Let's have the last European top league, top five league fixture, that is League One, where actions will also go down this weekend. In League One, the League One, PSG is not doing so well as it stands right now, and we know what is going on with the team. Okay, we have Mainz against Nice, we have Reims against Monaco, we have Marseille to take on Le Havre, a newly promoted team. We have Brest against Toulouse, we have Lyon, Lorient, we have Montpellier against Clermont Foot, we have Lens and Lille, we have Rennes to welcome Paris Saint-Germain. Those are the leagues in Europe. Let's go back to the fixtures of the EPL, where we are still talking about. Okay, we have a caller on the show. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Weekend Sports. Your name, where you are calling from? Your name?
From Funtua. My name is Ogbonna.
From where?
From Funtua, Katsina State. My name is Ogbonna.
Ogbonna from Katsina State. Okay, Ogbonna, let's hear your contribution.
Yes, from Funtua, Katsina State.
Okay, from Katsina State. Okay, now Victor Osimhen has made the final list for FIFA Best Player Award. Do you think he can win it? And then Arsenal against Man City in the EPL.
Yeah. Victor Osimhen have all it takes to win the Football of the Year.
Okay, what of the game in the EPL, the Super Weekend, Arsenal, Manchester City?
The game in the EPL, well, I'm seeing the game. Arsenal, I give Arsenal 3-2 against Man City.
3-2 against Man City. Okay. Are you sure Arsenal can beat Man City 3-2?
I believe it can happen.
Okay. Okay, you believe it can happen. All right, Friday, Joshua, we are still talking about the Victor Osimhen issue, making the finalists, and Arsenal against Man City. Now, for Arsenal, Man City, you've heard the contributions. So the last caller said 3-2. Do you think Arsenal can beat Man City 3-2 at Etihad?
This is football. Anything can happen. But of course, we know that is the tall order for Arsenal to defeat Man City 3-2. This is a situation of master versus the boys, versus the boys. Talking about Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta. If that happens, that means Mikel Arteta has actually learned very well under Pep Guardiola. And if that happens as well, I think Pep Guardiola would be very, very proud of Mikel Arteta that he trained, because it is the prayer of every master that your boy or your son be greater than you are. But it's a very tall order. So now, like I said, if they have Bukayo Saka in that team, of course, that means they have one of their best legs for us now. While for Manchester City, Erling Haaland is still there. We shouldn't forget that. Yeah. And of course, we know how deadly Erling Haaland could be in front of goal. So what it means for Arsenal is to find a way to be able to put their heads together and ensure that they lock this guy out. Talking about Erling Haaland, because for Manchester City, their chances have actually reduced with their injury list, and we've seen their performance since their first Champions League game till now. They lost against Wolves, you remember, 2-1.
Yeah.
There was something Wolves did very right, shutting Haaland out of the whole system and taking control of the game. And even if you have Manchester City taking control of the game, you don't give them that luxury of getting that link of play from the defense to the midfield, then to the attack. You must always have a checkpoint for them, where no matter how good they play, when they get to that point, it is a stop and check. And I think Arsenal should be able to do that. So going forward, Arsenal beating Manchester City is not impossible. It is very, very possible. And for Arsenal, if they are able to do that, it's good for them, because it is this same Manchester City that prevented them from winning the title last season.
Yes, it's going to be where they had their first revenge in the Community Shield Cup. If you look at the stats, 59 meetings between these two teams. In total, 25 wins for both of them, and then they've had 9 draws in between. And in the last 16 matches between Arsenal and Man City, in fact, Man City has beaten Arsenal 12 times. So the remaining, in fact, the remaining number of times in the last 16 meetings, you know what has happened. So we had 2 draws and a win. So it's actually a very big game that will be coming up in the EPL. Now, if we look at, okay, hello? Okay, all right. If you look at the way it is, that is where for Arsenal and Man City, it's a good game, and we will leave it there. Friday, Joshua, thanks for doing all of the joysticks on the show.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure. All
right. Okay, that is it. Arsenal, Manchester City. We had a caller 3-2 he predicted, and the other person also said Arsenal win. And for Victor Osimhen, they also supported that Victor Osimhen will win the FIFA Best Player Award. That is where we'll leave it on Weekend Sports. Thanks for watching. I am Emmanuel.